Shoot. Oof.
Okay, and just like that, we are live and via Zoom. I mean, literally worldwide. We're spanning the globe for this one. Welcome to Beers with Brodie, the Sharks Superfan Edition. Hello, everybody. Cheers.
Hey, hello.
Hello. Cheers.
All right, we're gonna go around the horn.
Cheers.
You may have seen some of these faces before on your social media streams. They are influential Sharks Twitter folks that I wanted to have on here, and we're going to discuss everything, I guess. Where the team's at now, where you hope they go, some memories from the past. I have this hypothetical, which I hope everybody can just digest right now and give me an idea on later. What if the Sharks won that Stanley Cup in 2016 against the Pittsburgh Penguins? How would things have been different the last, 5-6 years? How would things be different, or maybe not, today, for better or worse? So I want you guys to all think about that, because I will pose that question. So let's go around the horn. I really appreciate everybody for being here. Eventually, we'll get to Andrew. He's right in the middle there of that Brady Bunch box. Andrew's in Japan, which I can't wait to talk about. But let's begin a little bit closer to home and say hello to one of my good buddies, Felix. Hey, Felix.
Hey, Brodie. What's up, everyone? I am in the East Bay. I'm literally half an hour away from the tank, though I don't go to much games, but either way, can always support from the couch, right? So, but I've been a Sharks fan for quite a while. I probably watched one game of the Chicago San Jose series back in 2010, and then I don't really remember much of it, but I do remember the one against Vancouver the following year in 2011. So
kind of the same result, huh, Felix? One step away from the Cup final, didn't get past the conference final.
I mean, yeah, that's it's, and we'll talk more about this, I'm sure, as the show as this rolls along. I mean, I guess this is kind of a show, but we'll get more into how the Sharks have just always been there and just never gone over the hump. And of course, as you mentioned, that 2016 run where they were just so close, but no cigar. So, but absolutely thrilled to be on here finally, and of course, thrilled to meet you finally, virtually.
You and I have been collaborating on some things for a while, and we're going to keep that rolling.
Hopefully, we can get that to the finish line at some point.
Absolutely. Discord. So, Felix, you're just to recap, you're about 12 years into your Sharks fandom.
Yeah, let's put it that way.
Okay,
sure.
Cool. Well, on that note, we'll hand it off to Eric. He's also an East Bay guy. Eric, I've known for a long time. When was actually your Sharks connection? Was it 91? Do you go all the way back to the beginning?
I go all the way back to the beginning. I remember eating dinner at the dining room table with my little Walkman, listening to Dan Rusanowski call the first game on KNEW in on the radio way back when. Yeah, so it's been
you're an old
since day one. That's right, Shetty. Yeah, exactly.
Eric used to walk uphill both ways to school somehow in the snow. That's great.
And beautiful Pleasant Hill.
So let me ask you this: 31 years. In some ways, it's gone 31 years, but in some ways, hasn't it gone by in 3 years?
It's like a roller coaster. You have that build up, that's a slow build up, and then next thing you know, you're like on the old Top Gun ride at Great America. You're going for loops, you're going dives, and it's just going all over the place. And next thing you go is where the heck did the time go?
What part of the ride is Evander Kane's tenure? Never mind. We'll answer that. AJ, where's my rim shot?
And record scratch.
You're the sound effects guy, AJ. Come on, we'll get to you in a second. But first, third on the screen, and I'm going left to right, top to bottom here, is Casey. Now, full disclosure, this is Beers with Brodie. I have just cracked a triple IPA. This is Tres Diablos from Danville Brewing. It's 10.2. But here's the deal, Casey. How old are you?
I'm 17 years old.
Yeah, so you better be drinking your Starbucks only, right? On this episode. You literally have Starbucks.
Yeah.
I was kind of kidding about that. So tell us your background, Casey. I love having you on, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. Yeah. So I am also an East Bay guy. I have a YouTube channel, and that's kind of how I've sort of immersed myself into the community of Sharks and A's, etc. I've been a Sharks fan. Like I said, I'm a Bay Area, East Bay guy, so I don't go to the games probably as much as I'd like to. That being said, though, I've probably been a fan about 7 years. I just kind of fell in love with the Sharks ever since, I started watching them when they were on, and it's, they're just such a fun team to watch. And they're fun to talk about on my YouTube channel. So I've definitely, gained a lot of knowledge through just talking about them. And I don't know, just something about them when I first started watching, it just really clicked with me. It was the image, it was, the star players that, we all love and support. So I'm just, really a big fan of all that. And I'm happy to, be on this. And obviously, Brodie, we've talked on the phone during your live streams, and it's just been, it's a pleasure to be on here today.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad to have you. Honestly, Casey, you do a really good job. I've seen some of your videos, and for your age, and it's crazy because you'd say, "Oh, I've been a Sharks fan for only 7 years," but yeah, you were like 10 when you got into it. What's crazy about that? You and I literally got into the Sharks at about the same age. For me, somewhere between 91 and 93, but realistically, it was 93. It was that first year at SAP Center. Well, the Tank, San Jose Arena, before it was a Compact Center and HP Pavilion and everything else. But I went to a Sharks Chicago game right around Christmas of that first season and was just instantly hooked. The atmosphere of the Tank, and being about, I guess I was 12 years old at that point, but about the same age as when you got into it. It hooked me, and being from these parts like you are, like where you grew up here, hockey's not necessarily played on every outdoor rink because there aren't any. So it was unique. It was kind of a specialty thing. And I think that's probably a trend for all of us. So awesome. Sure. Great to have you here, Casey. I'll move on to AJ, who's obviously promoting the brand with all the Teal Town USA. AJ, you could basically host this. I don't even need to be here.
Yeah, but I'm giving the game the horse eye, and Landeskog just scored. So
you're not even watching this stream. You're multitasking. Like you can't even pay attention to this for a couple minutes. You're such a busy guy. You are a multitasker. Are you also indulging tonight in a beverage or no?
Oh yeah,
of
plenty.
Course.
Plenty.
Oh, excuse me. That's a flex. That's a flex right there, kids.
In case this runs long.
Wow. I thought he was going to open up a bottle of scotch or something and just outclass all of us. So, AJ, you and I go back at least several years, but give us your background for those who may not know it.
For me, it was started at the Cow Palace, went, that first year, went a couple times the second year, and had a great time, but it was like, I'm not about that drive up to the Cow Palace, it's a pain. I'm a South Bay kid. And so when they finally opened up San Jose Arena, my best friend actually worked. Like if you go around, you see all the speakers that are recessed into the ceiling. He put in a large majority of those. Wow. So he knows a lot of the nook and crannies that a lot of people aren't aware of when it comes to that building. But it was once 93, 94 started, having a team finally that San Jose, the South Bay could call their own. That's what triggered it for me. And then, the run and hearing about, Detroit's the heavy favorite. San Jose is going to be lucky to win one of these, and just to see what happened, it was just, it made me a fan for life. And, I've got ticket stubs from that season in multiple playoffs. We all remember Nolan scoring from center ice and all those different fun memories that I'm sure you have too. So and then somehow I got involved with Eric and this whole Teal Town thing happened. I don't know.
Well, you guys should have promoted that. And at the end, we'll do the hardest plugs of all. But Felix is part of it too. But Teal Town USA is one of the original Sharks, and I say like fan site. You guys have evolved into actually, legitimately covering the team. I don't even know what to call it because it has evolved so much. But I think every Sharks fan has come across Teal Town USA at some point. So you guys do a great job with that.
No, I appreciate that. And no, for me, it's no. If we're gonna plug, it's about the jerseys, brother.
Oh, here you go. He's
Oh, boy.
he's hawking jerseys now.
I'm hawking my
already
custom jerseys.
pumping his own side projects.
They are
Yeah.
they are impressive though. I got to give you, like, you sent me
Sure.
some pictures before he came on tonight of what's in your mailbox tomorrow. Apparently,
Yeah.
my goodness. I mean, I'm excited by this stuff, so I can't wait for other people to see their reaction too. I'll move on to Andrew, and I got to tell you, of all the things I'm excited about here, we're crossing the Pacific Ocean for this live stream, Beers with Brodie. Andrew is where in Japan? Where are you, buddy?
I am in Fujisawa City in Japan.
Okay.
It's about like 1 hour drive from Tokyo.
And so it's 9:15 p.m. here in California right now. What time is it, and what day is it where you are?
It's already 17th and it's 2 p.m.
What's tomorrow like? What's my Thursday gonna be like? I know you don't know that. It's just I always get a kick out of that, and you're always on the live streams on Sharks Night Shift. I always appreciate you commenting as soon as I see it pop up. It's awesome. So tell me your story. You're obviously half a world away. Are you from these parts, or how did you get into the Sharks? What's the whole deal? I don't even know.
Well, I've been a Sharks fan for about 16 or 17 years.
Wow.
My father was a Sharks fan. Well, he is still, but so I lived in Cupertino,
Okay.
and my father took me to the Shark Tank to watch a game, and I was like, wow. And then I became a Sharks fan.
That's very cool. It was the experience alone. So I gotta say right here, I mean, looking at you right now and just knowing where you are in the world, that's got to be one of the only Joe Thornton jerseys or Sharks 25th anniversary sweaters that exist in the whole country of Japan, right?
Yeah, could be possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. You don't see anybody really talking about hockey. Hockey's not. Is it non-existent in Japan?
Well, there is an Asia League, but it's not common.
Okay,
Only a few people know about it.
got it. Very
Brodie?
cool. Yes.
I don't mean to hijack your show.
Please
but
do.
No, I'm just. I think this is so cool. Like, Chief is on the other side of the world. He's got more stuff in his room than I do.
Well,
I love it.
So that brings a great question, Andrew. Is that stuff with you? Is that from your time living in Cupertino? Do you still have friends that send you Shark stuff? Like, where do you get your supply from?
Well, these are the stuff I got when I was in Cupertino.
Okay.
So I don't have a New Jersey, so I really want one. Especially I want to get a William Macklin jersey.
Okay. Well, how about we get him on the team first, and then we'll get your jersey.
Oh yeah.
jersey.
Yeah.
We gotta. You know what? Somebody's got to tweet at Jonathan Becker here. I mean, we gotta let the press know that we got a fan here who, like, it's hard being a Sharks fan where you're at, Andrew. Right? I mean, the time difference. It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
It's
you're
pretty.
Sorry, I do want to jump in and just sort of to piggyback off since he is in Japan. There was a first Japanese-born player to score a goal in the AHL.
That's right.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yes, for the Abbotsford Canucks. And just really cool to see. And I'm going to get more into this later, but it's just really cool to see just the impact of the sport.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think, like I said, I think the biggest thing is Andrew, as a Sharks fan, where he is in a place that's not completely exposed to hockey. And Felix, to your point, it does exist on the smallest level, and that's what makes any young player coming out of Japan even that much more special. It really does. Sure. Andrew, so happy to have you here, buddy, and can't wait to talk to you a little bit more. Let's get into Paul, who is sipping something right now. I was going to ID check Paul the same way I did Casey, but I found out that Paul's actually 25. It says, is that a Pacifico?
They do. I feel like they copied their brand, but it's actually Dust Bowl Brewing from Turlock, California.
I like it.
Yeah, from the small little city down over here in the valley, if anyone knows where we're from.
So are you in the Central Valley, Paul?
Yeah, so little town called Ripon, but they like to call themselves the almond capital of the world. So if you love your almonds, or almonds as the locals call it, you probably get it from here.
So you're pretty nuts, huh, Paul? Oh man, where's my rim
There's
shot?
your soundboard, Brodie.
Yeah, where's the soundboard today?
Stand by. Let me get that fired up here. Oh, I just popped it on the screen accidentally. Give me a second. Let me try. I'm just if you don't mind. Give me a second. I need to actually.
He's got a vamp, everybody. He's got a vamp.
All right, Paul, you must be nuts. Oh wait, you guys may not have even been able to hear that.
Yeah, no, we heard it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
You heard it.
I was realizing the way it went out on the stream. It never mind. Anyway,
Dude, the mix minus is dialed in, buddy.
I don't even. So many configurations here at the home studio. I don't even know what's going on half the time. Okay, so Paul, what's the story? How'd you get into the Sharks? And obviously for you, coming to the tank is a pretty big haul.
Hour and 30 minutes.
There you go. Yeah.
It's never fun. Just only one way too through that hill. So
Tracy or through the Altamont Pass, right? Yeah.
So it's like, and if there's one accident, you're screwed.
Right.
And if you kick traffic either way. So, but no, just DirecTV, we got it in 2010. And I was like 12 years old. We were not into sports, me and my brother, just surfing the channels. And we just saw this hockey game on, these guys in teal jerseys. And we're like, these guys are cool. They're hitting each other, fighting. They're playing the Anaheim Ducks, I remember. And I think we beat them like 4-1. And I'm like, we got to go to a game. And we were like, my dad's just took us. And that whole experience, I think I was around the same age. Like Casey said 12. I was probably the same age too.
Yeah.
Around 2010. And I think it was the same team, the Ducks. Somebody threw a dead duck on the ice, and I'm like, I love this atmosphere. I love hockey. So ever since then, I just became a huge Sharks fan. So that whole atmosphere, and it's just such a unique sport. And, and around here, we're not really exposed to it. So finally getting a taste of something different that I can finally get into that's not football or baseball, it was nice. So
you're saying you didn't really follow any other sport until this?
No, I just played soccer. Okay. And I followed soccer for a while. The Earthquakes I did like for a while. Okay. Back when the Wondolowski days, and
Wando's a legend.
Way back when we had Landon Donovan too.
Oh man.
Yeah, and back when we played at the Buckshaw Stadium at the college. Before they even had a home arena. So
right.
So now they're very blessed. So it's just been I just didn't like soccer. I did that whole thing, played it when you're young for like first 10 years of your life, and then you just kind of get out of it. But then someone built a roller hockey rink in Ripon, out of all places. And it's now shut down, sadly, but I got into it at the right time, and I played it right when I got into it with the Sharks from like 12 to 16 years old.
It's crazy you mentioned that. I was just about to ask you, can you skate? And it's amazing because there's two things part of your story that I can relate to. Going to the tank for the first time, that experience sold you, it sounds like. And then the second thing is, once you also learn to play the game, it doesn't, trust me, I'm terrible at it, but once you start to skate, handle the puck around, and you gain an appreciation for actually what you're watching, you connect with it even deeper.
Oh yeah. And it's especially when you do it on ice, it's a whole nother world, especially from roller. Yeah. And then I fell in love with the Sharks so much that as of late, I got a job with them on the tank patrol. So
we have a Sharks employee. So you
I often see
you make the
I often see you around. Yeah, I often see you behind the scenes, but I don't, get in your way, Brodie. But I work down below in the tank with the green jerseys on tank patrol. So
got it.
Yeah, and I do happen to see AJ. I talked to him about his jerseys one day on Teal Town. By the way, it's an honor being with Teal Town USA. They are the best.
Wow. That's very cool.
Hey, Paul, enough of that. This is my show. Okay? Stop. Like, seriously, I don't.
Cool.
If I plug them, it's one thing. I don't need you plugging them too. Okay. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's an honor to be with both of you guys at the same time.
Okay, there we go.
I get the best of both worlds.
There we go. Great. Well, it's great. It's great to have. I didn't know you worked for the team. That's a great backstory too. So.
Yeah. No, it's the best job in the world to just be behind the scenes, working with the whole production and events with the bringing fans on the ice and doing stuff.
Awesome.
Like that. So, yeah.
Paul, great to have you here, Paul. I really appreciate you joining us. I'm so excited to welcome in Maddie, who is a regular viewers / chatter. Anytime we do Sharks Night Shift, she drops in and she lays down the hammer usually of how she feels. Like, she makes great points. I'm really excited to actually kind of meet you here for the first time. Hi, Maddie. How are you?
Good. How are you? It's nice to finally, be in a space where we're facing face to face.
It's not just
you, Snoopy.
Well, it's not just you chatting, me putting it on the screen, and me talking only to you. You get to talk back to us tonight. It's awesome. So, what's your backstory? What's your Shark story? Tell me what you like.
Sure. So I guess my family was always kind of a hockey family. Specifically, my dad. He played goalie growing up, I guess, and I always grew up going to the rink with him. I was always like the little girl on the ice who would help him put away pucks at the end of each practice. It was really fun. But then my parents had been season ticket holders since like the very beginning of the Sharks. And then all I ever knew was growing up going to HP Pavilion. And I kind of got sold from there. And then, of course, over pandemic, you always catch up with things that you grew up with. I started keeping up with the Sharks again through those 2, pandemic seasons. Rough, but stuck through that, I guess. Yeah. And then we ended up here in this season, and then I kind of got into it even more, and I'm just really glad I stuck through it all.
Do you have a favorite player along the years? It doesn't even have to be current. Did you have a favorite season over all the years, or a Sharks experience you want to share?
Favorite player. I've always been a goalie person, probably because of my dad. Nabby will always be my personal favorite. Always will be.
Wait until you meet him. It's less impressive when you know him. So
I've met him like once, like a little offhand once. He was nice though.
No, he is. I wouldn't tease unless I actually like the guy and know him a little bit. So, great. And are you local? Are you here in Northern California, Maddie?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the East Bay, but since I'm in college, I'm actually in San Francisco.
Okay.
In like the Lone Mountain area.
This is quite the theme. Everybody is I think AJ's in the South Bay. Is that it so far? Right?
Oh, dude, I'm 12 minutes from the tank door to door.
Everybody else is a little bit farther away from SAP Center. So I'll move on to Alden, who I know half the time is in the Hawaiian Islands, which I'm so envious of. Excuse me. So Alden, I appreciate you coming on here. I've gone back and forth with you now for many years, and I always appreciate the way you approach things. So for those who don't know you, give us a little bit of a background.
I think my introduction to hockey was like the early aughts. I went to
Steve Ott.
Yeah, earlier. I just went to I bought tickets to a game as a thank you to a friend of mine that I used to work with who got me a job. And so my first game was, a playoff game versus in the series versus St. Louis way, way back. And we got there late, and I remember opening the doors to the tank, and it was just as the anthems were starting, and I could just hear the roar of the crowd. Like, you could feel the roar of the crowd. Yeah. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And so enjoyed that game, but then kind of dropped off for a few years, and then it kicked back in around 2006-07, and started to go to a few games here and there, and then it just really started ramping up from there. Probably really kicked in around 2009-10, and I don't know if I had to say favorite memory I've had or experience has been probably a tie between running into the entire team at CB Hannigan's the day after Chicago bounced us in 2010 and having one too many drinks with the whole team, and actually had to spend the night in Los Gatos. But that was just a crazy, insane night. And then the other experience was a few years ago, a friend invited me down to Anaheim for a pretty special experience there. They call it Between the Benches. And it's like a full VIP game experience there. And
cool.
I think Eric was at that game too. We never quite met up, but that was a fun game. So
I like how your experiences are a little bit different than games themselves. They are actual encounters. Alden, I'm gonna judge you a little bit here. I can't see the numbers on your sleeve of your sweater. 68?
It's Melker, baby.
I was trying to make out what those 2 digits were.
Yep.
Is that your only Sharks? It can't be your only Sharks jersey.
No, I've got number 44. I've got a Eddie sweater.
How does AJ know every sweater you have?
Because we drink before games.
Oh, yep. Alden, you hang out with this guy on purpose?
Yeah, we get our drink on before the games here and there. But Eddie and Malker. I really miss Malker. But I think my whole thing with finding players all these years that I've liked to favorite have been. Everybody's had Thornton and Marlowe sweaters, things like that. And I wanted to maybe support guys that, aren't maybe a fan favorite and that sort of thing. And there's something about defense and Mark Edward that I really like. And, it's for as much as it seems like he's struggling, I just hope that he'll find his game, and Melker, I've just always appreciated the way that he played. There are a lot of haters out there, but I liked his game. I felt like he played a good 200-foot game.
I felt like I haven't seen much of Melker with the Sharks this year.
Yeah.
He made a great point because I remember
he's not on. Oh, sorry.
He made a great point. I remember Brodie a couple years ago. You actually talking about jerseys or getting jerseys, and you were saying that you would like to see some jerseys around the barn that maybe didn't get the hype, the Marcus Sorensens and the Melker Karlssons.
I always, and that's honestly, Alden, I'll tell you this, I always appreciate seeing somebody who's got a different name on the back than you would expect, and they've got a story of exactly why. And I always love to ask that story. Why? And sometimes it's like, I won the jersey at an auction. So it's like, it was the cheapest one.
Full disclosure, though,
Uh-oh.
I got this jersey from Melker directly on Fan Appreciation Night.
Nice. Okay, but then you kind of hit the home run then, because if you already like the guy, and that's the way it was, the jersey off his back deal, right? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, that's exactly. Well, Alden, I don't know, you on your screen, if you look behind Eric, I think he has the jersey that every Sharks fan truly covets.
Wow, I'm just now noticing that. What a suck-up move,
I forgot to mention that before. No, Eric, see, AJ, you could learn something from Eric.
Oh, really? We're gonna go there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm controlling this Zoom, right? Could I shut your? Can I mute you if I need to? Just kidding. Alden, I'm so glad to have you here, Alden. You've always been one of my favorites. Just like when you interact on Twitter, like when you put something out there and I see it, I'm always like that. I don't know you, like we don't know each other personally, but I feel like I do, and I really do appreciate you. So last but definitely not least, Jeff, you've been waiting like 20 minutes to talk. Buddy, I apologize first off.
Oh, it's all good. I'm just glad to be here with everybody.
You just popped up last on the screen. So but last but definitely not least. So I don't know you at all, but I would love to get a background, who you are, where you're from, and your connection to the Sharks.
Yeah, man. I'm just glad to be here with everybody. I'm glad to be here with the Teal Town guys and, great fans that, this community has opened me up to over the years. I'm also originally an East Bay guy. I live in LA now. Been down here about 6 years.
You don't have to say it like a guilty thing because you got Shark stuff all over your walls. Like you're fine. You're fine here. You're safe. Or you're.
Oh yeah, no, it's good to be in a safe space. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely gotten some looks over the years since I've been here with a hat or a sweatshirt or we won it and you didn't. That kind of stuff.
Well, except for the jumbo slide and that couple play. Well, and then there was the reverse sweep, I guess.
I never liked that poll because it was like, how long did it take LA to win the first one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've been at it for a little bit longer, and winning a couple. It just they hit. Well, and I told you guys that I was going to ask you about what if history happened different. What if the Sharks won the cup in 2016? I also want to ask the question to you guys later. Are the Sharks just an unlucky franchise? Like, They've got to the conference finals a couple times, and half their team can't even put on their sweaters. Like Ryan Close has a dislocated shoulder for the series. Anyway, do they just run out of luck sometimes? So put that under your guys' hat, because I think sometimes there are things about the franchise. AJ, stop trying to answer right now. Like I told, just wait. Just wait. It's my show.
That wasn't you. I was looking at something else and answering a question. Calm down.
Jeff.
Scripts are already flying.
Yeah. So, Jeff, what got you hooked on the Sharks?
I'm a little bit like Paul in that I grew up playing baseball and skateboarding and stuff. I used to go to I don't even know how many A's games a year. Grew up an A's fan.
Oh, now we're really bonding. Wait, cheers to that? Come on. Where's my beer sound effect? It's got to be here somewhere. By the way. Who said that? Oh, Casey. Yeah. So sorry, Jeff. I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
All good. Yeah. I mean, I got to see them in up close, and the Giambi area, the Matt Stairs era. So it wasn't until my dad took me to a game when I was 19, and we went to Henry's. He snuck me in there before the game somehow. And I think it was Sharks Wings, and
classic.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to get introduced. You know,
you went to Henry's High Life before a Sharks Wings game. I mean,
he knocked it out of the park, and it was so unassuming. He's like, I think my friend gave me tickets. Let's go down there and check it out. And I mean, by the end of the first period, it was like, how have I not watched this? How have I not been into this yet? And I was just completely in love.
You know what the best part, Jeff, is? And I go back to my, figuring hockey out and learning it and kind of feeling like I was one of only few of my friends that actually even knew what they were watching. It feels almost exotic at first, because you're like, wait, this is sports. This is different. This is one that not everybody's talking about. It's certainly easy to enjoy. There are some quirks to it, right? The language of it's got a whole different vocabulary, I think, in a lot of ways. And honestly, too, it's the whole barrier of, okay, so if you like basketball, you could probably go get a ball for, $30 and go shoot hoops at the local middle school. But for hockey, it's like, okay, you either need a couple $100 worth of gear of rollerblades and it's not the same, or, I mean, what are the chances you actually find an ice surface? So it does feel a little bit exotic, huh? When you initially get into it.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the scale of the whole thing, and how big the players are, and especially going to the tank, lights go down, Metallica comes on, Sharkhead comes down. That's kind of hits the nail on the head.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Cool. Well, we've talked to everybody so far. We've gone around the horn, which is great, and we're going to kind of open it up to a bunch of different topics now. First thing I want to get to, and I've had this thought recently because it's 5 now plus years removed. What would have happened if the Sharks, instead of losing the Stanley Cup final to the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016, what would have happened if they won the Stanley Cup? What would have happened in those days of June following whatever their victorious game and series win was? What would have happened in the weeks after that, the months after that, the seasons after that? How would things, for better or worse, even be different here now today? Does anybody want to take that up?
I'll go first. I think we be started celebrating for weeks on end.
Well,
because it was.
State the obvious.
Let's be honest here.
I would still be drunk. Yes. Okay. Got it.
Right. I mean, for long timers like a bunch of us here, to experience what we experienced at the Cow Palace, having 28 wins in the first 2 years. I mean, I know Drew Remenda always mentions, fastest to 100 losses in NHL history. To go from that to finally getting over the hump would be something special. But it was also a short, not to get into the particulars, but it was a short summer because they would have had the World Cup of Hockey to get into.
Right.
But, maybe it makes the Sharks more of a lucrative spot to come to.
Anybody else want to give me maybe over the years how things would be different? Casey, you had your hand up there.
Yeah, well, one thing I thought about, and I'll touch on over the years, but I think one interesting thing to think about is the fact that the Warriors lost the finals a week in margin from the Sharks losing. And I think honestly, the excitement for the Sharks just would have been like, obviously, Eric, you talked about this, but I think the excitement would have been so like very powerful, because I think, the Warriors, obviously a huge fan base, they lost it. And for, the Sharks lost it too. For me, it was devastating as a fan of both. So I think really the excitement would have been just so much more than anticipated, because, another team loses, the Sharks win. And I think honestly, for years to come, I think, definitely we could have retained a lot of good players. And I honestly think that, hockey in the Bay Area and Northern California, as the Sharks being the only team there, I think really a lot more excitement would have been generated. That being said, though, of course, the Sharks are very much a staple in the Bay Area, but I think really it would have kind of put us on the map a little bit more.
Yeah.
Devastating loss.
And I see the Draymond Green jersey and the Iguodala jersey behind you, and I think AJ wants to jump in next. I mean, I'm almost still bitter, and I hate to say this. I mean, I love the Warriors. I truly do. I grew up watching Run TMC. It is one of my favorites, along with the A's and Sharks. But I was almost a little bit bitter that the Warriors were in the finals, the NBA finals, at the same time. They were in Cleveland. We were in Pittsburgh, back and forth, and it kind of sucked away some of the attention that should have went to the Sharks. Now, that we're only talking about the series. AJ, I'm talking about if the Sharks had actually won that series against Pittsburgh. What would have been different for you?
I mean, I don't know that anything would be, look at the wall behind me. Would anything have changed? Probably.
You would still love them. Yeah, you've had better pictures behind you, like you hugging Jumbo.
Might be a cup.
Right. Yeah. It would be you kissing the cup in downtown San Jose. But how about like today, here in 2022? Would we still kind of be going through a rough patch potentially right now? Maybe. Right.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if well, see the way that I looked at it. And this is just me probably being a bit of a wiseacre, but maybe sports talk radio would finally be forced to talk about the Sharks and acknowledge them.
Hang on a second. I got a sound effect for that. Yep. No, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I know. It's all Giants.
Too busy trying to pull some 49ers ratings off a third string wide receiver who doesn't play. Let's talk about that for an hour. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
No, I think, that is part of it. I mean, I don't know the last time I've seen a Shark Central episode. I don't know about you.
Well, they canceled me. You don't. Actually, to be honest with you, a huge limitation is just access to human beings at this point, right? And keeping everybody safe. And it's just we can't do the stuff that we used to do right now. So,
but I don't know. Do you think maybe it would have led to the idea of a new venue?
Do we need a new venue?
Well, you talk to some fans and they're kind of like, the barn, she's aged very well.
Yeah.
But we're, 30 odd years now, and it's maybe the everything has gotten a little kind of stale, or maybe we need a refresh. Well, hey, look,
you need to bulldoze the place to do what?
Well, I think part of it has, what it has to do with is that part of it, they're looking at the future roadmap and seeing what Googleville is going to bring in.
You think the casual fan is looking at that already? I know you are, and I know some advanced Sharks fans are, but you're already seeing. Well, I mean, you're already starting to see changes. They've already moved the Poorhouse Bistro to Little Italy. You are starting to see small, subtle changes around the building, and it's just going to get more so. But you're saying that if the Sharks won the Cup in 2016, there would have been something built up around it so that it could have catapulted them into. Where would you build this brand new venue? I mean, where the building is at right now is the perfect spot.
Well, yeah, no, and exactly. Remember where they were going to build the athletics? The San Jose A's.
Don't rub it in.
No, I'm not trying to rub it in. But remember, like that building was going to be built across the street.
The train station, right? Yeah, right.
There you go.
All right. Maddie, you've been watching this intently here. What do you think would have been different if the Sharks won the Stanley Cup? And maybe the answer is nothing's different. I don't know. What's your take?
That's a hard question. I really feel like part of me thinks that nothing would have changed, but at the same time, like, I agree there would have been a lot more attention on the Sharks. I feel like as the years have gone on, you don't see too many people talking about them. And I think that team was definitely one of the more, I don't want to say the most iconic eras, but it was definitely one of their better eras where there's a lot of attention. They had a lot of good guys. The team was really working together. So I feel like at the very least, more attention and more opportunities for them. But I don't know if I could say anything huge would have changed.
That's well stated. And I think, you know what, sometimes I guess maybe that's the obvious thing, but I don't know that we had really got into that yet. So I think that's actually pretty important. Andrew, from the global perspective, would the Sharks would have blown up in Japan, right? Obviously where you're at, they they would have been a global phenomenon. No, not really. Do you have any thoughts on that? And do you remember the whole Stanley Cup final? You were a fan back then, right?
Yeah, I think I was listening to the radio, and well, I think that maybe Marlowe and Thornton could have stayed at the Sharks until they retire.
Yeah, you're saying a cup win would have bought them kind of like the pass until the end, basically. Huh? Yeah. Well, that's I had not thought about that. And that's why I love asking you guys this, and I love your responses so far. Because some of these things I think I had thought about, but that one I had not thought about. So, anything else, Andrew? Or are you going to leave it on that one? That's a good one.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
He got his one-timer, and it was a beauty. Anybody else have a thought on how things would be similar or different if they won?
I was actually going to chime in. We've talked about, like, and especially as someone who not even talking about like whether or not the Sharks would win a cup, like just as someone who loves to grow the game, let's just say. Like,
yes.
I think a lot of that I hear about is, look, championships put teams on the map, which is obviously what we talked about.
Yes.
And I definitely think that a cup win would have put the Sharks on the map. I feel like I'm hoping that, like, if that did happen, it would have slowly, gradually sunk into the roots of California hockey and just growing that a little more, especially near in the Bay Area, and just, I mean, I just feel like it. I don't know that there'd be like, significant changes. As Adrian pointed out about the whole Sharks coverage, which but it.
That's the fans saying, like, we want more coverage. Now they got the coverage. Now they're happy. Sorry.
And by the way,
Felix.
This is why not to do a shameless plug here, but this is why Tealtown USA exists too. So, but
you know what, Felix, you're allowed to plug it. Okay, it's just, and Eric is too humble to do it. AJ is just gonna, peacock himself around like, hey. So Felix,
we get the Peacock stream promo in there.
Yeah,
Brodie.
if you want to watch the Olympics, the Peacock app.
But anyway, like, so. I mean, again, no, but in all seriousness, though, it's why, Tealtown US exists. It's why, multiple podcasts such as your own, exist, and why you love talking about the Sharks, and, and not to put the Discord, promote the Discord project, on here, like heck, but it's about the community, and I feel like, a Stanley Cup win would have definitely juiced up the community a heck of a lot more. But for me, the hockey community, the Sharks community is absolutely just tremendous. And I think, the more we grow the community, just the better, for the sport. And like, I just feel like this sport is just so unique, as you mentioned, it deserves to be grown, in my opinion. But no, there might have, long story short, there might not have been huge changes, but I feel like, more people would have been perhaps exposed to it a little more, and
it definitely would
taken an interest in it.
It would not have hurt, right? Like that. It only would have boosted in one way.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have a closing thought on this? I've got another topic to get to. Is there any other Thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that
Go ahead.
Andrew's thing, where I think Andrew took some of the words out of my mouth, and that I think had we won, Jumbo and Patty, maybe they stick around longer, but also maybe they would have possibly gone out on top.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And then I think, in the longer view, as far as, the couple of years following a win, maybe much doesn't change as far as the team because of contracts and things like that. Maybe we don't lose Pavs. But the thing I'm thinking about is, we win a cup and it makes us a destination for players. One, because, people have heard so many good things about just San Jose and the way Doug Wilson, deals with people. But also, do we win the Tavares lottery?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
All
that's
the
what I
deep
was thinking.
diving here.
No, that's what I'm thinking about, the alternate universe here. And that's, you're right. I mean, some of these things are chain reactions that could have led to something else. And obviously if you won the Tavares thing, you were definitely not in line for signing Erik Karlsson the way it happened. And I don't know, what's the chain reaction of that? I'm not here to say good, bad, any different. I'm just saying that this is a totally different world of what you're suggesting. All right. That's pretty deep stuff there, Alden. And I think too, it's possible that we could have found ourselves in the same situation here in 2022 where the team's, struggling, trying to retool, trying to get themselves out of it. But I agree with kind of what you were alluding to. Probably 2017, 18, and 19 would have instantly went better because of winning a cup. Does everybody agree about that?
19 didn't go too terribly.
Well, was it a great regular season, or was it just the reason of this shirt, right? Like, did this alone make 2019 great?
Well, ooh, that's a great question you pose there.
Here's what I want to respond to. How I want to respond to that.
Yeah.
If Game 7 hadn't gone the way it did, would you be wearing that shirt? Or would that shirt be even exist?
No, of course not. But okay, so here's my response to that. This was a great moment, and that turned out to be the catapult of getting to round 2, beating the Avs like they did, getting to round 3, which unfortunately started like really well in the first game and then unraveled. But I'm saying, like, was this a great season because of this, or was this a great moment that made up for the season? I mean, I don't even remember how did 2018-19 even go? You guys have to help me out here.
Jose.
What's that?
All-Star game was in San Jose.
I remember that. Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't. Was it a President's Trophy season? Or they win the division? No, right? I mean, so.
Yeah, but we all know what happened when they won the President's Trophy.
Yeah, that's a curse. Yeah, you actually don't want that. You're like, yep, we'll pass on that. We'll actually lose our last 5 games if we don't get it.
See, I actually have a question for you.
This is not your show.
But I can still. Okay, then I'll ask a question to somebody else.
Fire away. I want this one. Bring it. Come on, bring it.
Joe Thornton has 75 games left to tie Marlowe for the games played record. Do you think he does it? He's not going to do it this year, obviously. I mean, he gets scratched every other game.
Right.
But do you think if somebody throws him some money to play next season?
Of course he'll do it. I mean, he'll play if the opportunity is there.
But do you think he's that kind of guy that he's so aware of the duality that Marlowe and him have? Do you think he would like literally go up to like 1768 and be like, okay, that's a career. Thanks. I'm going to go play in Switzerland.
Fatty, hey, Fatty, come back for the boys. Hey, you got to come back and play, Fatty. It's not even that he would see it as a Patty Joe thing. He would see it as Jumbo can have the chance to do it type thing, So I think he would. That's wow. That's deep though.
Right?
I guess I wasn't even on my radar, to be honest with you. So, all right. So
gives you something to talk to Curtis about tomorrow.
He pretends like he actually played with those guys. I don't think that's true. So, all right. So we're done with the alternate reality thing, right? We think that things might have been a little bit different if they won the cup. Maybe not totally different here today, but obviously we would have had some memories that we don't. We have this right now. I would rather.
Nice t-shirt.
One second. I do want to pull one thing.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
I'm almost nervous here.
Like show and tell.
You got a drum roll?
Felix jumped
Yeah,
out of
there
that.
you
Where's
go.
the drum roll sound?
Jumped out of that. Oh, whoa! Is that the jersey he was wearing?
Ah, breaking out the cup final jersey.
That
with
number
the
would have
patch.
definitely stayed signed.
Oh, whoa! See, there's another one, right? I mean, if you win a cup, how do you not retain Joe Pavelski after that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that was before the whole Pavelski payback game, but yeah, to the point, I think some people would have been locked in. Some people would have had more of the lifetime pass thing, so I think that's definitely part of it too. All right, we'll close that one off. Let's get to probably the burning topic, and it's the obvious one here that everybody would want to discuss. And I'm not here to say that I don't want you guys to turn this into a complaining session about why the Sharks are where they are, or if you don't, you could point fingers if you want. I mean, you guys know it's not my thing, whatever. But here's really where I want to take this. We know where the Sharks are at right now. So optimally, how do you see them getting out of it? How do you see them getting kind of back to where they were, constantly competing, obviously getting in the playoffs every year, but making deep runs? How do you see them getting back to the hypothetically 2010s? Does anybody want to start that chat?
Ooh.
No.
We got it.
I do, but I feel like I've dominated the conversation.
Jeff, do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I guess for me, the to answer your question with a question is like, who do you build the future of the team around?
I'm leaving this wide open, right? So that's where you're starting, right? Is who where do you draw the line of what is your core and how that's going to start, right?
Yeah, we have the trade deadline coming up, and that's obviously like the biggest talk of the community now. But then like after next year, you have the prospect of an offer sheet for Meyer potentially for a lot of money. So I don't know, like, who do you go with?
Right.
Or can you find a way for both?
Maybe with $7 million more in cap space, if that is what the Sharks are dealing with, maybe it's less of a problem now. But quite honestly, I still feel like at this point they're a top 6 winger short. If you're asking me, where does it get better? I'm interested of what they do with that cap space, how they add to this team. I'm interested in who emerges next year. Can Jonathan Dahlen take another step? What will William Eklund be like? Are there any other prospects in the pipeline that, stick in the way that I think those guys can? Can you get a Knizhov back? I don't want to dominate this. I'm asking the question. I shouldn't be answering it. Casey, you've got something to say.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about the question. I think really, sort of a topic that's been definitely a big topic in the past couple of years is goaltending. I think really if we could get a guy that we can get consistent numbers from night in and night out.
James Reimer. What, you don't like James Reimer?
I like him, but I definitely think that,
Sorry, they're booing you, Casey, not Rhymes. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Reimer, Optimist Rhyme. He's great. But I think, he has, flaws as well, as most goalies do. But I think really if we can kind of get a centerpiece like that to build our team around, I'm not saying like go after a Marc-Andre Fleury type player, but if we can get somebody we can have trust in, night in and night out, I think the Sharks are in a better position, because I feel like, this year it's like, obviously Reimer's been a little, a bit more consistent than Hill. But on the other hand, it's like, who's really the true starter at that point? I feel like it's hard to tell sometimes, like, so like Adin Hill was the starter on opening night. And then, so you kind of have that expectation, and then they start off really well. And, 4-0, I believe it was. And then, things get iffy. And so I think really trying to obviously keep, the core guys like Hertl and Meyer, of course, and then trying to get, good defense as well. And I think, a guy like Mario Ferraro is a really good guy to build around as well.
Yeah.
He showed a lot of promise. So for sure.
I hear what you're saying goaltending wise. It's, they want Hill to be that next guy. It's just that Reimer overall has been more consistent. Plus the frustrating thing about this season specifically, Hill's been out with injuries and then COVID for a while. And then Reimer was out, and it's 5 games here, 5 games there. If you truly want to have a tandem, like a 1-2 punch, you want to be able to throw 1 and then 2 and not 1-1-1-1-1. Oh, he's out. 2-2-2-2-2. That's not a 1-2 punch. That's a 1-1-1-1-1-2-2-2-2 punch, So I totally understand that.
Sorry, can I
Yeah,
jump in?
Felix, please.
Just to kind of piggyback off that, I like even further to the goaltending point. I think it's more than even, and we all know it's more than just goaltending. This team needs work on multiple facets, and one of those sticking points, night in, night out, is defense.
Yes.
I mean, you look at
team defense, right? Not
Yes,
not just the blue line, because I think that's I know you know that, but that's such a misconception. The casual fan hears that and they're like, oh, it's the defenseman, right? Okay.
Right. Yes, but in this case, yes, team defense does need work, but also I'm thinking right now, what I'm thinking right now is of the blue line, the Burns, the Vlasics, Carlsons, and just the number of minutes that they're playing, especially with Burns, playing just those heavy minutes night in, night out.
30 minutes a night.
You're gonna burn them out, and we've seen the consequences of burning D-men out with such heavy minutes. And I hate to knock on Burns, but and his miscues have led to a few more than a couple of goals against. And not saying again sometimes it's it's on the goalies to save and make the saves that they need to save, but also the defense has to bail the goalie out. And when you don't have that great of a defense, I mean, and not to mention you have so much money locked up on the blue line.
Yeah.
Burns, he's making $8 million a year. Vlasic $7 million a year. So it's, and then you look at Ferraro, is gonna want a new contract. He's in a pending RFA. So I mean, you've got this, you really got decisions to make on your blue line.
Well, going back to Burns, and I'm not saying you kind of set the scene for him, but playing that many minutes, like, you're gonna make more mistakes. You're out there twice as much as some of the other defensemen, right? And to your point, maybe you're burning a guy out. I'm one to think that if you look at the Sharks this season, they're actually more stacked right now on the blue line. They have more players of NHL caliber on a nightly basis than they do forwards. I truly think that it's forward depth right now, the lack of constant or consistent scoring that might be biting them. Maddie, how do you see the Sharks getting out of this? How do you see them getting away from where they've been?
Yeah, I agree with Felix, and I agree with the whole you got to work on team defense. And I think seeing them shift around the lines between the Coda and the Sharks, it's been simultaneously a good thing and simultaneously, I guess, not a bad thing, but because with so many lineup changes and shakeups almost every single game, you're not building a ton of consistency. But at the same time, if things aren't working, you kind of have to shake it up. And I do think it's going to be important to build around the future. And especially if you want to have a strong top six, you got to find good prospects. And the name I also want to throw in for the prospects is Thomas Bordelo.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing pretty well with Michigan. And I think he's got a good future with the Sharks. It just makes me wonder when they're going to bring him around. Because assuming the Sharks bring Eklund back next season or sometime in the future, I do wonder when they're going to start bringing prospects up to the team and see how things can be built around those guys.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what you're saying is, in addition to many things, what you've said that's different is that the next phase of Sharks has to show up, right? Like an Eklund or a Bordelo, or and honestly, I how do I say this? I should be the one to spurt out all these names and tell you who I think's next. I'm kind of lost in all of it, and I say that because over the years, I've been wrong so many times. Some players have surprised me. I think they almost bury some players that they know are really good. They bury them so that you don't hear about them, and then they're like, "Hey, check out, you name it, and all of a sudden that player sticks on the team. So,
and sorry, not to hog all the airtime.
Please, John, I love it. I love it. Please do.
Just to piggyback of what off of what Maddie was saying too, like, you know, Eklund, you know, like she said, he's gonna be coming over, you know, probably you know, next season, I would think.
I think so too.
So good. But like you look at the Eklunds, the Bordelos that are coming in, and the one thing that I'm wondering, quite frankly, since Maddie mentions about the you know, the next star for this team, for a team that quite frankly hasn't really had, like, aside from, you know, the Jumbos and Patties, right, and like the Cooches, you can argue, you know, Tomas Hurdle, they haven't really had that star power to really talk about, for people to really talk about. So I'm really interested in seeing who takes the reins, especially for a team that, quite frankly, right now doesn't seem to have a whole bunch of leadership.
Okay. All right. So leadership and depth is kind of what you're going at.
And I should also say that maybe Mario Ferraro could, you know, I think he could definitely be a part of that future leadership group. But again, who's going to be, you know, the star that really leads this team?
Paul, do you have a thought on what gets the Sharks out of where they're at right now?
I think Maddie and Felix hit it on the right points, but I think the Sharks have been consistently inconsistent the last few seasons.
Yeah.
And we're at a very danger point or critical point these next few weeks. They define where we go. And we have guys that we need to re-sign, not just Hurdle. You know, we talk about Hurdle, but we got Ferraro and other guys alike down the pipeline, and other ones down the future with the limited cap space that we have. And we still don't know for months what the Evander Kane arbitration is going to set for us.
Right.
And we're not going to know in time for the trade deadline. So that it just puts so much stress on what the front office has to do in these next few weeks, and as well as the team, where they want to go. But the way I look at it, we're seventh place now. And these, the other teams still have games to make up.
Right.
And we don't even have Erik Karlsson until mid-March. I mean, we did have the good news that we have, but, you know, I wouldn't even want to rush him at this point, even if he could join. You know, I just rather at this point, I've seen people say that we got to focus around the two, Hurdle and, you know, or do we trade them? So I don't know. It's like, what do we do at this point? You know, just because it's like we need young people to fill in the gap, because we've tapped in the Barracuda as much as we can, and I've loved it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I feel like we've kind of hit the finish line with what we can do with the Barracuda team at this point.
Humble brag, but I am wearing a jersey.
What's that, Felix?
I said I am humble brag, but I am wearing a Hurdle Heritage jersey right now.
Well, you seem to pull out all the Magic jerseys. You got the Pavelski Finals jersey too, which is cool.
And I've got more. Yeah, the Ferraros, the Jumbos.
Nice.
355s. Yeah.
Alden, do you have a thought on what gets the Sharks out of where they're at right now?
You know, I think, you know, I'm probably more pessimistic in that, you know, we've got all of these huge contracts, and that's not a criticism of any of those players. That's just, you know, they earn their big ticket, and this is just where we find ourselves right now. But I think, you know, I got a bad feeling we're going to lose Hurdle. That's just me. But, you know, again, we also are going to have to worry about the Timo Meyers and the Mario Ferraras, things like that. And I think the team in general has been, you know, or Doug Wilson has been using that term reset for years now. And I just feel like we might be staring the rebuild in the face here. And
when you say lose Hurdle, how do you think he'll be lost? Is it straight up UFA this summer, or trade him before the deadline?
I mean, I think, you know, probably trade at the deadline, because I don't think we're going to just let him walk, you know, without getting something for it. I mean, that's not to say that I don't think that, that Doug Wilson and Joe Will are going to, you know, work their butts off to get a deal done.
Right.
Because, you know, I mean, he's done Doug Wilson has done some pretty magical things in the past. So I'm not ruling that out just yet, but I got a bad feeling about it. I feel like we've had so much luck, with guys taking hometown discounts and things along the way. And I just feel like we might be running out of luck, but we do have some young guys that I think, again, the whole consistency thing, right? With guys rotating in and out. I mean, I like Magna, I like Middleton, and, some of the other guys that we've seen. And I just think that given more time, some of the other players that have been up, maybe they get another chance to show themselves, that maybe, we're getting those players to that point as well, where they might be able to play, stick in the NHL. But yeah, I think there's so many things, to worry about. We've talked about goalies. And I think, I love Rhymes. I loved him when we had him the first time, was sad when he left, was glad when he came back. And I think, and with Aiden Hill, he's just had some bad luck with injuries. Yeah. And I just think the one thing I think he's got going for him is his youth.
Yeah.
And I just think that, already it feels like a lot of people are, or maybe more casual fans have kind of written him off, but I think there's still a huge upside. And I think he just needs that, to be healthy and to have that time to play. And I think, I think the jury's still out on him. And I think, I'm willing to give him that chance.
Sure.
And yeah, but I think, or offense, we need more depth, certainly. But hopefully we can find some, and I'm still holding out hope that, like some of the guys that we've got, again, I think I just tend to like the guys that nobody seems to like. I'm a big fan of Cogs and Bones. And I just hope that, those guys can pick up their numbers too. I just feel like they're working their butts off, and the things that you don't see in stats, they're working hard, and it's just some bad bounces, maybe they get some lucky bounces and things turn around. So.
All right. I dig that. AJ looks like he's about to pop off here. AJ, what gets you happy again? What gets you going to playoff games again? How did the Sharks get away from where they've been? And I'm gonna give you about 90 seconds, because I think you could probably go about 90 minutes on this.
No, and I know I'm going to get, because there's a whole contingent of people do. Oh, AJ just hates Erik Karlsson. I don't hate Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, so we know where he's going. Here we go.
Yeah. No, it's who did you lose before you brought in Erik Karlsson, right? It was you lost Donskoy, you lost Pavelski, you lost Nyquist. Those players that season, 112 points. Did you think Erik Karlsson was going to make up all of those on his own? So when you saw the Erik Karlsson deal, and I'm like, okay, great, but you need to replenish that offense. Very much like Alden was saying, is that, like the blue line, yeah, okay, you've got some nice things there, but like, remember how deep this team was at center just a few years ago?
Yeah, but the thing is not where did they go wrong, if that's what you're implying. I'm saying how do they turn the corner on this?
Oh, how do they dig themselves out of the hole? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
hang on, he's reshuffling the deck.
Yeah, I got to reshuffle the deck. I mean, look, John Leonard got a lot of looks like last season, hasn't gotten much this year. So you're kind of going, wonder what's going on there. Same thing with Shemolevsky. Like, he was getting some looks this year for some reason, not so much. You even saw Halbgewachs get some decent looks up with the team.
I don't know how you said that, but I still can't say his name. Try, yeah, okay.
It's only 3 syllables. Halbgewachs. That's it.
I thought it was Halbgewachs.
No, 3 syllables. Halbgewachs.
I can't believe you're telling the pre and post-game host how to say this. I thought I go to the school of Dan Rusanowski. Score.
You do have a pronunciation guide, right, Brodie?
Yeah, but you know what it is, though? We've actually spoken to Jaden's mother at a Barracuda game.
Okay, that's Teal Town going too deep here.
All right.
Too deep.
So she told us how to pronounce it correctly. So anyway.
Sorry.
But yeah, the only way that if see, that's the other thing too, is you can sit there and go, well, the Sharks need a new GM. I'm not against that per se. I mean, Doug Wilson had an incredible run. But I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Those are the facts. But let's be honest. The Sharks are about 2 losses away from, that they're going to miss the playoffs for the 3rd straight time in the first time ever in franchise history. Does the team owner, Hasso Plattner, hold him accountable for that? Does he say, you know what, Wilson, you've built up so much cachet over those first 15 years. I'm going to give you the opportunity to right the ship. But it still comes down to whether it's Doug Wilson or a different general manager, they're still going to have to deal with the contracts of Couture and Vlasic and Carlson and Burns. Unless these guys start playing up to their deals, you had some people looking at Timo Meier last year kind of biting their knuckles a little bit, and then all of a sudden this season it's like, yes, this is the guy that we've paid for. This is what we've expected. But to get back to Alden's point, I'm kind of in the same boat with him. I kind of feel like Hertl might be looking at the tea leaves and saying, you know what? I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I want to win now. And it's been great, but maybe it's time to get out. And look at Brandon Coe, Thomas Bordelo, Daniil Gushkin, Ozzy Weisblatt, obviously Eklund. You even look at that kid, what's his name? Gaudreau?
Ben Gaudreau.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
You look at him and it's kind of like maybe, and I know Wilson is so reticent to admit defeat. And I'm not saying it's defeat, but it's just like, look, things are not going well. Just say the big R word, the one that, you can say reset, refresh, replenish, whatever. This team, you had an amazing run all this time. It's time for a rebuild. You've got Doug Wilson Jr. has, for me, put the most exciting group in place that I can remember ever. You didn't, I'm hearing about a lot of these names. I never heard about picks as much as I've heard about them since Junior has taken over. So you bring in, look at
William Eklund. Like people were you disappointed when they sent him back? I actually was surprised and a tad disappointed.
No, you know what? I wasn't disappointed because I didn't have high expectations this season.
And that's a great kind of like over the long term. That's actually a really good point. I liked him in the 9 games we saw, but then I also I went deep into realistic Brazil brain and said, wait a second, what's he look like in March in this league? As
don't
an 18-year-old.
burn that first year. Yeah, don't burn that first year. And maybe I'm not saying that Hertl's going to get the return that Ottawa got for Erik Karlsson, but that should be some pretty significant pieces.
Right.
You're definitely going to get at least a first rounder. If that's like if somebody Jerk loves to say when somebody goes, "Hey, Doug, let's talk about Hertl." And if that first word isn't out, so my next year's first rounder, if that's not it, you hang up the phone. Like if it doesn't start with first rounder. But I mean, I'm the biggest Tomas Hertl fan. I'm telling these project jerseys that I'm doing, half of them have Hertl on the back because I'm such a huge fan. But I'm looking at the future roadmap for this team. And I hate to admit it, I think the best thing for this team would be to use him for the value. He's never going to have any more value than he has right now.
So do you like enough things that they've already got going, and you're saying you want more of that trend? You want a couple more Eklunds, basically, and a Dahlin. You want a Knizhov, and you want a couple more of those, huh?
I think there's enough in the pipeline that I think like they could suck for another year, and then after that you could start to see it build back up. And I'm here for that. I've lived through that with other teams but at least I feel like there's a roadmap where right now it's kind of like everything's in limbo. It's because let's say that they do extend Hertl for 8 years and give him 8x8 or something commiserate with Logan's contract, which they would obviously have to do.
Sure.
So at that point, then it's kind of like, okay, so you have your number 1 and your number 2 center. You look at all that money on the blue line, and now we paid all this money to him, and plus we got to get, there's Ferraro, we got to build around him, and and then
keep
what
your
about Barabanov?
Keep your goalies happy. Yeah, Barabanov's another one. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like there's and the cap's going up what, a whole $1 million if that. It's just
right.
You run out of space. Quick.
Right. That's another thing.
Sorry to cut this thing short, but I actually have to run because my mom does have a bedtime. And but yeah, just to kind of wrap things up on my end. First of all, absolute thrill to again just super stoked to finally meet you virtually, Brodie. And obviously we'll talk more in the DMs.
Yes.
And my final thoughts, which I know will come for the rest of them, for the rest of y'all, that will come later, much later tonight. But my final thoughts are, boy, it's been a treat to watch the Sharks' best players be their best players, for the longest time, and just watch the playoff runs that I've seen, and just watch them succeed, even though they've fallen short of, the goal of winning a Stanley Cup. And right now, this point, we all brought up some really good points. I just want to see consistency. I want to see, this team, quite frankly, I mean, we all want to see this team play better, right? But we want to see this team, this organization, this front office address multiple issues. And, obviously that's not going to happen overnight, but the hope is that this front office realizes where this team is actually at and go from there. Because right now it's what we've been seeing for, since, the Game 7 win, that run, it's not cutting it. Like after all that, like what has the on ice play brought them? Like really, it's just been frustration, right? So hopefully they'll, finally call it a rebuild, and they're gonna have to make some really, really tough decisions. The hurdle, do you keep or trade Hurdle? I actually, I hate to say it, but I agree with AJ, and and a number of people who are also on board of the trade Hurdle for better assets for the Sharks, essentially build for the future, accumulate those draft picks, get those prospects developed. That's what they need right now. And that way they can really actually, move on to hopefully a better version of the future Sharks, and, and get back in the hunt again.
Felix, I appreciate that, man, and we'll let you sign off. And I hope you have nightmares of Sharky attacking you tonight. Now that you've talked Sharks, but right before you go to bed, I'm kidding, man. A pleasure. The feelings are mutual, and thank you so much for all your support and for being here. I really, really appreciate you.
And of course, on that note, I will also sign off with this. I am going to let AJ and Puck Guy promote Teal Town USA.
Well, Puck Guy can. Eric can do that. AJ's on although I do like AJ's sweater. I think that's a good logo. He's got the shark around the state of California. So,
anyway,
I might let him plug his jerseys later. All right. Felix, have a good night, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. Kind of on that note, I mean, I've asked you guys two big questions. We went into, how would the Sharks have been different if they won a cup, and how did they get out of this? Is there anything burning on your guys' minds that you either want to talk about, or you want to talk to me about, or you want to talk to yourselves about? I don't want to control this entire thing. I want to leave it a little bit flexible and wide open. Is there anything on anybody's mind?
New pregame host?
Oh, wow.
Okay, Curtis. That's Curtis's one joke. Oh, I thought Laura was coming in here tonight. Yeah, football's over. Oh yeah, okay, great, Brownie. I mean, you wish, but that's not going to happen. So that gets the old.
This is the toilet one.
Oh, the toilet one? Yeah, that's right there. You guys know my soundboard a little bit too well.
I'll go here.
Yeah.
The one thing I think I'm kind of curious to hear what everyone thinks is how everyone is viewing Boogie and the coaching staff. I feel like, again, I think he's doing a good job, and I think he still just needs to be given more time to work with what he's got, and I feel like the culture is turning around, and I think he's got the buy-in of the players. But that's just my view. I'm kind of curious to see where everybody else is kind of coming from on that.
I can just say with that, he's doing the best with what he has to work with. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Would a different coach do any better with the same lineup?
I think, you could have the best coach in there right now, the number one. I think what's his face from Tampa Bay. I don't think it would make a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think he's definitely impressed me for what he's got. I think, he was kind of put into that role, kind of last minute and, after DeBoer. And I just think, my expectations initially weren't super high, but, from seeing him, obviously we haven't had playoff level excitement, but I think for what he's got, he's doing the best he can do for sure.
Don't you guys think that the hardest thing is obviously to win games in this league, to get your team to be a playoff team in this league, but even deeper than that, maybe even harder than that, is to turn around culture of a team that kind of lost its way, especially last year and especially over the last couple years. And I think even, after a game like the other night, the Sharks are disappointed because the way they not only lost to Edmonton, got shut out, but the way they lost, and they know they're better than that. Teams of the last 2 prior years, it would have been like, yeah, so what? We lost to Edmonton, and that's all you hear about it. So I know for sure there is a culture shift inside that room, and it's an improvement. Now, does that translate to the ultimate wins and losses they need? Obviously, that's how a head coach in any sport is judged. Who wants to keep going on this?
I would give Boogie a little more credit for how many games did we see the Sharks get down early this season and fight back?
Yeah.
And I don't know that we saw that the previous couple of years where it felt like the team was just kind of raising the white flag a little bit. So I give Boogie all the credit for that. My only stance with Boogie, where I kind of look at him and go, I want a little more information as to why Balsers, who's been like your third best scorer,
you want him on the power play, huh?
I want him on the power play. Like I want to know why that's happening.
I knew it.
I want to know why Merkley is not why is Merkley not in there?
Because I can tell you that because he keeps wanting to wear the number 6, and Bob's like, "Yo, Merks, Brazil, the broadcaster's got that number. If you want to wear 16, we'll get it for 6. Nope, you're scratched tonight." So.
Yeah.
No, I agree. In all seriousness,
on the power play, and I'm not the biggest fan of Lane Peterson. I don't know why he keeps getting the call over a couple other people, but
I'll dive in on the Merkley thing. Curtis and I were talking the other night at the game. We were talking about a way to interview him and have him, on our show, whatever. But I was said, I'm actually kind of disappointed that, while they're down Carlson, and there's, opportunity to get an extra guy in there on a given night, that he kind of fell away from getting the first cracks at it. And, the first couple games, I saw a little bit of Dan Boyle in him. Now that's saying a lot. Stanley Cup winner, Olympic gold medalist, but undrafted.
All around badass.
Absolutely. A guy can make a Moscow Mule like nobody's business. Trust me, I know. Still drunk off that. But no, it's I want that opportunity for him. So anybody else want to talk about the coaching stuff? I'll just say I think the general theme is that, and you guys have stated this already, he has taken a team that is not the best version of the Sharks ever, and made them competitive. He's given them a flavor. He's given them a lot. There's still a ways to go. But until the coach gets out there and skates a few shifts, then I don't know. There's only so much they can do on a given night.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
How much do you think Kane's absence has had to do with the culture?
I think so. Here's an interesting way to put it. Going into, was it 2 nights ago now? everybody seems like they want that one quote. They want a player to just blow up on Kane, and they want Kane to blow up on the Sharks. And Bob Bugner might have went the farthest, and just kind of describing why it didn't work and this and that. And it wasn't one particular thing. It was a lot of things. But I definitely think it's more about what's not said. It's the body language of these players. And when they pump up how good the team is vibing this year, it's almost like, don't read the quote word for word. Take what you know, put it in the big picture, and evaluate that. And to be honest, I'm a guy who had enough interactions with Evander over the years to I would think I'm a good judge of people, at least instantly, where I can say, okay, there's something wrong, or there's something going on there, that this is not a good dude, or this something's fishy here. I never got that with him. I honestly never did. But I think what you can see in people who either said as much or quite honestly didn't say as much but alluded to it, that there were enough people kind of not wanting his return. And the Sharks literally, how many times in pro sports do you have a 30 goal scorer type player, type impact player, and you hold them away from your team? In the NFL, they don't do that, at least not that I'm aware of on a regular basis. But it's so important to the room. It's so important to a hockey team to not, in kind of the way that they started this year, to not disrupt that. It was made very clear that it would have complicated things. So sorry, I know this is a long, drawn-out answer, but I think it's a significant deal that the Sharks, as a franchise, decided to back their players, or enough of the players who spoke out or made it very clear that they were better off without him. Again, Evander's going to be a good player for the Oilers. That's just the way it's going to happen. Maybe the Sharks do or don't owe him anything with the grievance process, but so long as they can turn a chapter and use that cap money to move on, I think they're also happy too.
Now, to be fair, if you want to talk about how good your character judgment is, I'm here. So
I promised you this, and I it's one of those, it's a charity case, AJ. It's where,
that's what I looked at. I'm like, you might want to reassess how good it is.
I knew you'd be watching this if you weren't on it, and I could see your face. I could see the depression, the anger. You're like watching.
Oh, tears.
You're watching your buddy Alden here. Eric always tears it up. Felix was jumping in. Like it was basically Teal Town minus AJ. So I didn't want that to happen.
No, that's all right.
What else is on everybody else's Sharks radar? Or do you want to go outside the Sharks? Do you want to go something else in hockey? What's on anybody else's mind?
I just want to say one more thing about the Kane thing. I completely agree about what players aren't saying. But the one quote that I always think of that stuck out to me was towards the end of his suspension this season. Somebody asked Couture if he had talked to him.
Right.
And I think his answer was along the lines of like, I haven't talked to him and I don't know anybody on the team that has.
Right.
And like, to me, that was like the most, telling comment, because hockey players and teams are so tight together, and, they're tight on the rink, and outside of it, even when they go to different teams, they always communicate. And that was like by far the most telling quote to me of like where they were as far as wanting to be involved with him, even as a person.
Encanto, that new movie, they made a Sharks remix. It's like, we don't talk about Kaner. You guys know that? If you don't have a kid, you may not know that. It's, we don't talk about Bruno. Never mind. I took it too far. Hey, Andrew, what can you tell us? I don't mean to isolate on you and focus back on this, but I'm so fascinated that you're literally so far away physically from the rest of us. What's life like in Japan right now through the pandemic? And you don't need to tell us what you do on a day-to-day basis, but what's life like out there right now?
Well, everybody's pretty much vaccinated, and I think people who got caught COVID is less than other countries, most countries. But like especially sports, they still have a rule to for the audience to have a mask on, and we can't even shout, and it's really boring. So yeah, I'm a soccer fan as well in Japan.
Okay.
Oh,
And I usually go there and cheer for them, but we really can't do anything. So I'm really jealous of watching people like shout out in the tank. It's super jealous.
All right. Is it getting better over there? Are things bad? Honestly, I'm admittedly only selfish in the sense that I track, cases and things and how the situation is regionally, also in our country, but I really haven't thought about it from a global perspective.
Well, it's not that disastrous in Japan, but it's not good. It's kind of getting worse. So I really hope that the damage is over and it gets better and better.
So in America, there's, the whole work from home culture. I don't, obviously I've been going to work now for more than a year and kind of in the full swing of that and, taking every precaution clearly, but is it a work from home thing in Japan or are people going to work? What's it like?
Well, I think people go to work even in this COVID situation. Japan is kind of late in using those online systems, so I think that's why well, Japan's pretty late in those stuff, using those systems.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to know. I'm just curious, and again, I'm always fascinated. It's an opportunity for me and us to chat with you. Like I said, who's living. You're one of us so much, but you're living a little bit of a different life. Obviously, just where you're at. So, kind of curious about that. Anybody have anything else that's on their mind? Sharks or otherwise related?
I would touch up on what Andrew was saying. The sports are one of those things that brings everybody together, and the struggle to have to not chant or shout everything, especially for soccer, and of course the atmosphere at the Shark Tank too, when it's buzzing. That's tough to have because you want to have that sense of normalcy going on, and you want to see friends. Like, I mean, I've known AJ for a long time. I've seen Alden. I know Maddie. We've talked here and there online and everything. And it's that sense of normalcy or that escape from everything that has gone on over the last few years. And sports does have an effect on that and can help get through all the crud that's going on outside the world.
Totally agree. And it is interesting to see how, I was at the tank 2 nights ago and the attendance there is not what I would ever have expected. But I also am very mindful of where the world is at right now and people not feeling 100% like it. I get it. I mean, I think we are literally 2 years into an uphill battle over and over and playing the long game. And so I think what to me, as much as people ask all the time, well, what's up with the attendance at the Sharks games? I think we know what the long-term support looks like for the Sharks at that building. Like we know what that building has always been. We know the atmosphere, the environment. It's not a question of, well, does it come and go over the years? No, it's been tremendous over a lot of years, but there are some most unusual circumstances right now that are causing people to behave different and react different and do things or not do things that they normally do. So I hope it's over sooner than later, but I just want to say that I know people ask the question, and I think the answers are obvious why the attendance doesn't look the same, but I think it's most important for people to recognize, you know what this normally looks like, so you know what normal doesn't look like. You know, it's not normal right now.
Yeah.
But aren't the Warriors selling out?
Yeah, no, they are. I mean, and I think it's a combination. It's a thing of the Sharks going through bottoming out. I hope, right, over the last couple of years. But I would also tell you, AJ, I think as much as geographically Chase Center and SAP Center are 65 miles apart, you know, driving a car, you know, think about this. Every tech worker in Silicon Valley who's working from home right now, who is still taking like that precaution or like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a totally different lifestyle of maybe even the South Bay, and people are working remotely and they're like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to stay home now, you know?
See, that it's funny you bring that up. That's something that we've talked about before, where the pandemic, it was this idea of how comfortable are fans going to get with the idea of, you know what, the income that I use to spend on, say, season tickets or beverages or whatever, the game experience. If I'm not going to a game for an entire year, maybe I upgrade myself to a really nice TV and a sound bar and make the at-home experience way, way better. And it makes me wonder if a certain contingent of fans has said, you know what, I'm kind of enjoying the home experience. This is not the worst thing in the world.
Well, clearly it's because you get to watch the pre and the post game show on NBC Sports California.
Well,
and
I
they're
think that goes without saying.
Brazil and Brown. What? If I go to the game, I don't get to watch them. That's a great point. And I will translate this into like vacations. I mean, I haven't taken a true fly away vacation in a couple of years. And I think even in 2020, I realized there were a couple items I spent money on, and I thought, you know what? This is the money I would have spent for our family to go on a vacation. I'm going to spend it for something else. To your point, something else to improve our house or something we enjoy as kind of a reward. So maybe people are spending their time, their money differently. But again, I still think the overall theme is that we're not out of unnatural times yet. We're not back to normal.
Yes,
Clearly.
I would agree.
So once that goes back to, once we can say, hey, this feels like normal again, and then if things aren't the way that we would expect, then I would think, okay, there's something to look at here.
Well, and as you're talking about the Sharks kind of, you know, to use your turn of phrase, bottoming out, I'd also turn it around and reflect on the baseball team that you absolutely detest and how good their record was this past year.
Oh God.
And they had problems selling tickets. You'll notice I didn't mention them.
No, we don't say their name yet. It's the Bay
Yeah.
Area's other baseball team. They're in China Basin. I know about them.
For the record that they had, which was
Right.
the best in baseball for quite some time.
Think about their attendance, and not so much in August, September, right? But their attendance in April, May, June, even July. People, oh hey, life's feeling good. You know, no Omicron yet. Like the Giants were getting about 9,000 fans a game.
Who?
Oh shoot!
Oh,
The other baseball team?
I almost said the other S word too. Which I guess I
That
can't.
that AAA PA is kicking in, isn't it?
The Trace Diablos turned me into the Diablo. Yeah, no, but you're right. Their attendance was only impressive when it was like, hey, they're gonna win. And I know how many games they won. 107 games. I know.
It was only impressive when they were playing the Athletics.
Oh God. But you're right though. Like that's when fans really started showing up. I don't know if that timed out with feeling more normal or more natural or whatever, but maybe it's in our Bay Area landscape of sports attendance. Maybe at this point people are only going to go if they know you're going to be really good. They're not even willing to say I'm a fan of this. I'll go just because I love this. I miss this. They're just going to say, you know what? I'm only going to go at this juncture. I'm only going to go if I can't miss this. If this is going to be, that high of a draw or an attraction. So
it's the same. It's the same right now in LA too.
I saw. Was nobody celebrating the Super Bowl parade today? Was like were there no? What was that? What was going on out there?
I heard 2 fireworks the night they won. Wow. I'll say that.
Wow, they'd really been waiting a long time, eh?
Yeah.
There were probably more fireworks
really
in St. Louis. St. Louis was rioting for a different reason. They were like, yeah, we're pissed because they should have been here. That's crazy.
But I mean, even as recently as like the night that the Dodgers advanced to the finals this year, I happened to be at the Kings game that night. And I think the only reason it was busy that night is because everybody was ready to go out downtown and celebrate. But like last night they played Edmonton and it was Drew Doughty's 1000th game.
Yeah.
And my friend sent me a video at 7:25 right before the ceremony. And it was like, he just panned around the stadium and it was like, maybe a third full.
Yeah. And that's not typical Staples. Oh, excuse me. Crypto.com.
Crypto.com.
Whatever. That's not the crypt. It's that place is typically, and are the Kings relevant again? I don't know. You can say that, but they're on the up and up. Like they're turning a corner. Yeah, they're turning a corner. There's no question.
Turcotte, Byfield, they're on the come up right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've looked good. The games that I've gone to this year, except against Carolina, but that's because it's Carolina.
Well, and then of course that one kind of noteworthy game that they played at the Shark Tank.
Oh yeah, they got
Timo
5.
Myers.
They got 5 gold.
I was gonna say Timo had a good night that
they got
day.
Mired.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like with the attendance, I think it's hard because outsiders kind of tend to make assumptions about a team and a fan base when it's lower. And as somebody who's had teams with embarrassingly low attendance, it's hard, just with like the whole real world situation going on. It's just, that we have loyal fans for the Sharks, of course, but it's when your team isn't at the, par with what it was in the past years. And then on top of that, you have, more restrictions in this region. It's hard. And, I think, for the Sharks being such like a, the Bay Area's team, Northern California's team, it's like we deserve to have really good attendance. But on top of that, it's like you have to have, the desire to go. Yeah.
Hey, Casey, real fast, man. Tell me what time does school start tomorrow?
8:10.
I'll be sleeping.
Nice.
Hey,
good for you, Brodie.
Wow. No. My son will be up at like 6:15 yelling and yelling. I'll be woken up by that.
Can I ask Casey a question?
I will. Look, can I go? Wait, whoa.
Oh, okay, you first.
Let's interrogate Casey a little bit. Casey, what are your classes this semester? What are you taking?
Yeah, so I'm taking 8 classes total.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
AP everything, right?
Half are AP.
Are you real? Wow. All right. You seem like a smart guy. What are you taking?
Thank you. I'm taking pre-calculus, computer science. I'm taking band, film.
What do you play?
I play saxophone.
Oh, no.
Nice.
Wow. Classic.
I think
Awesome.
I'm taking Spanish,
Nice.
entrepreneurship, film. What else?
Man, you're doing everything. 8 classes?
Yeah.
That's a lot of homework, dude.
A lot of homework. It's like 9 hours a weekend, and it's tough.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
You getting good grades?
Yeah, I am.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You got college picked out? You got to know what you're going to do?
Yeah, I definitely want to. I mean, my dream is to be in some sort of, in the broadcasting industry.
Oh, then don't even go to college. Just skip it. Go to San Jose, or just go to San Jose State. Look at this. You want to host a Sharks pregame show? Done.
My dad actually went there. Yeah, no, I'm definitely, I'm in the college process right now, looking at it, and
cool.
Trying to get through it because my life's kind of crazy with the YouTube, trying to be consistent with that, and then school, and then sports.
Yeah.
Playing sports. So it's just, it's a lot, but I hope it pays off.
AJ, hit up Casey. Hit him hard here. What are you going with?
I mean, speaking of paying things off, are you going to be able to pay for college because you open up your bedroom as a lids outlet during the day? I mean, yikes,
Sweet
man.
selection, man.
Dude, that background is amazing.
I noticed that. I got
No, yeah, definitely. I'm opening up. I'm the store's getting ready, so yeah, it's open.
Casey, I want you to remember someday when you're the one hosting all these shows, and I'm like, hey, Sonny, remember me? Just remember this, okay? And remember me telling you, I think you're gonna do this stuff. I think just give me some time to ease out of it gracefully. Like, like when they fire me, do a tribute for me or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, Casey,
yeah.
I want to tell you, I don't know if you've looked at it yet, but SF State has an incredible broadcast department.
Oh, cool.
Like,
So-
as an alumni of that department, I can speak to it.
You were a Gator, Jeff?
Yeah.
And Maddie, you go there right now? Am I correct? Oh,
I go to the other San Francisco University.
USF? You go to USF?
Yeah.
Oh, look at see. At least I know what I'm talking. I know I know where colleges are at. I'm proud of myself. What can you tell us about USF, Maddie?
Well, it's pretty great. You're getting to be in my dorm room first off.
It's purple. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we'll go with purple. It's not too bad. I'm fortunate enough to work in a nice place. I don't like the hills. I don't know why I chose a campus that has. Yeah, no. There's a campus on a hill, and then there's a campus on ground floor, and of course I choose to live on the hill.
Right.
And then go to class. Yeah,
You're getting a workout. Yeah. It's you're out of breath by the time you sit down.
I have to say some of my classes are well.
What's your major or what's your focus?
English literature, actually.
Wow. What would you do with a degree like that? What's your hope?
Well, right now I'm looking into law school.
Oh, cool.
Taking a couple law courses. Yeah, I'm taking the LSAT prep courses and everything in between, which is pretty cool. It's been packed schedule every single week, though.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine. I mean, it's funny. Like you, as somebody like me, I'm 20 years removed from schooling of any kind, and you kind of forget like what a grind it is. And I don't know. I think as you get older, you'll look back someday and say, "Oh, that was easier." But in the moment, it's not. I know it's not. So I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that you will find that too, probably, that you will remember these times differently than they actually are. Jeff, what did you do what'd you do at San Francisco State?
I thought I was gonna get into audio engineering, but I actually grew up doing post-production and video editing. I grew up, I think I mentioned before, skateboarding. So I would go out and film all weekend and then come home every night of the week from school and just sit in my room and cut stuff up. And then SF State came around and I got into their broadcast program and just kind of never stopped doing it.
Are you a Premiere guy, Final Cut, Avid? What do you use?
Learned on Windows Movie Maker when I was in like middle school, and then moved to Final Cut 7 and then moved to Premiere.
Yeah. Once Final Cut 10 came around, I was like, nope, loved you. But
they changed it.
Yeah, I've used them all over the years, and I got into it. I was on an Avid system in the 90s, and then and then Final Cut came around. I was like, that is the jam. Actually, I did Premiere before that, then Final Cut, and then in the last 5 years, I've gone. I pay for Premiere now. I had
every month.
I had the last version of free Premiere for many years that I hung on to, and then I realized, I can't do this anymore.
Am I the only one that really detests having to give a company recurring revenue every month to rent software?
I'm just gonna say it like this, AJ. You know the way that players get free gloves and sticks and skates and whatever in sports.
The way you used to get free Pete's coffee.
Used to. You're right. Used to. No, but why the hell should I be? Why should I be paying for this stuff that I'll promote it. I will say, hey, made with Adobe Premiere, but here I am, 50 something bucks a month, and I agree with you. I understand they have to make money. And how many full versions of Premiere or Photoshop did I ever pay for? maybe
no,
this is,
and I'm right there in that group.
this is me paying back, but my company always paid for it. I did not.
Well, see, and that's the whole thing is that, my company pays for my cloud subscription, and that's great.
Right.
But it's just like, no, I miss the days where it's like, do I want to pay $20 a month for Photoshop, or can I just pay $400 once and that's it?
The problem is they're never going to continue updating it. I do think that
you know what, it does everything that I needed to do as is.
Right. For me, I've just realized that the suite of Adobe stuff, I'm like, you know what, this and Photoshop, I have been using that straight through. I mean, literally for 24 years probably. I mean, it's what I know it like the back of my hand. And
as Brodie bought his first copy at CompUSA. That's how old he is.
Actually, I downloaded it from. Never mind.
The news groups, LimeWire.
I don't know what's it called, statute of limitations, when I can talk about this stuff more. I can probably talk about how I really abused Adobe probably in 2050. But as for now. It's funny, and there have been a couple people who reach out to me on Twitter, and I know in their bio it says, "Hey, I work at Adobe," and I don't have the heart to tell them. Like, well, now I'm like, "Hey, I love your product, but I didn't always pay for it." So sorry.
Dude, I will tell you, literally, my best friends. So when I say best friend, like best friends since I was 13 years old in junior high. His sister works for Adobe, and I was like, "Great products."
You were baiting for the freebies.
She's totally thrown me the freebies.
Oh, okay.
But
got it.
But I was like, I'm like, before you worked there, just let you know.
Yeah, like I said, I'm half kidding about this stuff, but I'm also like kind of serious. This is what I do for a living. Like, throw me some free stuff. Like, in the same way that a baseball player they literally show up to spring training. I don't know if you guys know this, but and spring training's not happening right now, but there's a day for like the Mizuno guy and the Nike person and the Oakley person and the Easton person and the Louisville Slugger person. And they come in and they bring suitcases full of their stuff. And they're like, "Hey, Matt Chapman, would you like to swing this bat this year? And if you like this, we'll get you 20 more. We'll take care of you. Oh, do you like those glasses? We'll give it to you." Why can't I just have one free thing? Why do I have to pay for all this stuff? Like,
dude, I'm surprised Shure hasn't shown up to your doorstep and said, "Hey, get rid of that TLM. We're gonna give you something."
This is a Neumann. I only work with Neumanns now. I've
upgraded.
No, and that's the whole thing. So Shure's gonna come in and say,
AJ's mic right here is like a gun.
Yeah. So the Shure's gonna walk up on your house and be like, "Get rid of the Neumann. We're gonna give you something even better than the 7B."
I will never let this one go.
But it only works in an acoustically treated.
It's true. Yeah.
This will not. Shed.
This will not. this will not work in my other office here at home. This will not work in the other room. So,
can I ask you one final serious question? Then I'll just kind of lay back.
And by the way, I just want to say, in case you guys haven't noticed, we're probably on the tail end of this thing. I was aiming for about 11. So, AJ, go ahead, and then I want to open up the floor to anybody else. Go ahead.
How much longer are you going to disappoint me by not at least once in a while replacing your little wooden Brodie Brazil sign over your left shoulder with the two beautiful mashup hats that I've given you?
Oh, that's a great idea, actually.
Right? This is what I'm saying.
You can't see it, but I just put the home studio up here full screen. So I have, and I only have this up here because it kind of like just promotes the YouTube channel. It gets people thinking. And actually, in reality, what I really should do is say like, "Hey, subscribe." Like, don't forget to. I see people do that. I don't want to push too hard though to subscribe and follow and like whatever. I should. So one of them is at work. The green and gold A's hat.
Sure.
And then,
I remember the last time you wore it.
Sorry, the green and gold Sharks hat. Is at work, and then the teal A's hat is actually in my office here at home. This is not the office. This is the home studio. That's separate from the office room. So
the shed.
No, I can tell you. I know where they are not lost. They're right there.
You think the green and gold Sharks one is still there, but Sharky has probably come in and
if Sharky's ever in my house. Like 911 is getting called. I know, even I don't care that I recognize him. I'm just like, no, you're out of here.
Did he really like totally screw up your tie box?
Oh, he's done everything. Yeah, he showed up to work one day and like dumped all my stuff out on my desk. This was back in the normal days. Look what's Casey rocking?
Casey, that's a sweet lid, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm trying to find a green and gold.
Oh man, nice.
They're looking everywhere.
Which one?
Do green and gold Sharks hats exist? Because I'm trying to get mashups.
Oh well. What size do you like, Casey? Because I have one. What if I gave you the hat AJ gave me? How upset would AJ be?
No. I get that's for you to do whatever you want.
It's a great prop.
White elephant, pun intended, sort of thing.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, I came across that in the weirdest of ways. But as soon as I procured it, I'm like, there's no way I can have this. Like, this needs to be something in Brodie's collection just for what he does.
I have one other one.
Somebody here, by the way, I'm barely looking at the live chat here, but
there's a chat.
Yeah, there's a guy named Marty T who is just commenting all the time here, saying I got Photoshop from Kazaa. Do you guys remember Kazaa?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah!
Wow. The Napster go-to afterwards. No, Marty T is a big friend of the Teal Town Discord.
Is he really?
Oh, huge,
big time.
Love
He's awesome.
Oh, he's got a teal Warriors hat.
Nice. I have a Raiders one too. So I've teal in every team.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm supposed to go to a Warriors game like in a month or so. I might need to talk to you where you found that one.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I will tell you.
Absolutely.
Like no free ads, right? There are these two places in San Jose. Like one's kind of like Berryessa, East San Jose-ish. The other one's San Carlos.
That's where I got it.
Yeah, Gene's Palace, man.
Yeah, that's where I got it.
Yeah, that place.
That doesn't sound creepy at all. Gene's Palace.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, man, you go in there and yeah, it does have this kind of like flea market vibe going to it. But I will tell you, all of their hats, they're all new era and they're all high quality. In fact, I hate to be the guy to tell you, but that hat that I sent you, the black and teal one,
no,
yeah,
I put it on
Gene's
my
Palace.
head. Oh god,
no, that's it. Look at what he's rocking right now. It's the same thing.
It's from Gene's Palace, huh?
I bet you it is.
Hey, I'm going to tell my wife, where am I going today? Honey, I'm going to go to Gene's Palace. I'll see you later.
Yeah. But dude, they do
Google
solid lids, man. Solid mashup lids.
All right. It just went 11 o'clock. So let's go around the horn one final time. And just if you want to have some closing thoughts, if we didn't cover something, if you just want to say something, we'll try and touch on everybody as soon as possible. Paul, I'll begin with you.
For sure. I just have to say it's nice to know where a lot of Sharks fans, well, at least a lot of the Sharks fans here stand on where we want to see this team go.
Agreed.
At least honing on a roadmap for sure. Whatever that roadmap is, it just needs to be a roadmap, something that we could look forward to, and just looking bright for the future. So
awesome.
Excited.
Paul, it's great to have you, man. And I'll look
Appreciate
forward.
it.
Next time you see me at the tank, although when I come there, I'm hiding. I'm in the bunker. But throw something at me. That'll know it's you.
I'll try. Yeah.
Well, actually, a lot of people throw stuff, so I'll know it could be you.
I was like, get in line.
Yeah, I'll be Sharky. Is that you,
Sharky?
Paul, you've probably seen Sharky unmasked, huh? What's that like? I know what that's like, but
I'm sure you have, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to say too much about Sharky over the years, but yes, yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen Sharky.
I'll just say he's a beast, and
you're being too.
We kind. Are, out of all sports, mascots in the entire world, I hope Sharks fans know we are very lucky to have Sharky.
Sharky. He is.
I have no idea how much this guy puts into every game, and how
Yeah.
much dedication he really does do a lot.
Yeah,
every game, it's crazy. So just so you know,
Sharky is legit. Casey is just pulling out every lid in the world. Now he's gone from A's to Dubs to Raiders in teal. Casey, what are your closing thoughts tonight?
No, yeah. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to go on this. It was great. And if you're doing an A's one anytime soon, hit me up, because that'll be something I'd be interested in.
So you're A's, Raiders, Dubs, Sharks. Your channel, like you've got 4 teams covered. I should go to you for every one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it was great talking, about the Sharks and kind of like finding like a middle ground of all the the issues they have, but also, sort of like what's going well. And it was a really great, opportunity.
Yeah.
And great talking to all you guys. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks for being here. And I want to pump your channel, A's Raiders Dub Sharks. If you're not following it and you're here or you're watching, just go do that right now. I mean, don't click away from this, of course. We need all the metrics we can get, but in your free time. AJ, go ahead. Just Teal Town it up. I mean, whatever you're going to say. Just...
No, I'm gonna save that for Eric. For me, I'm going to say SJ Sharks jerseys on Instagram.
Hey,
Holla at your boy.
Is there any discount promo codes?
Holla at yeah. You know what? Yeah. There's gonna be a promo code. If you put in Brodie, it's 20% more. And
We get
and I will say that
that's pretty funny.
And I sent the Brodie the jerseys I sent to you earlier, those photos.
Yeah.
I also passed those along to Becker, and for some reason he said that I should expect a cease and desist because it's too close to what the alternate jersey for the Sharks next year were going to be.
What?
No way.
I'm just want to go back. I can't show these, right? You want to keep these top secret? I'm not going to do
No,
that.
No, go ahead. I get them tomorrow. Go ahead. I don't
can't
care.
really put it up on this. I can't really put it up on the screen, unfortunately.
Whip it out.
Well, here, and I got to realizing I'm adjusting the brightness here. Nobody, I don't even know. Here, let me do this. I'm going to put it up. Well, folks at home watching on YouTube, you guys won't see this, but I'm holding it up here to my GoPro camera. Yeah, that's a good look at it right there. That is it's like a Kelly green sweater that's got an A's elephant crest on it. So where did you get the Kelly green sweater from? And then here's the backside of it. Hurdle green and gold in 48. So where'd you get that Kelly green sweater from?
I kid you not, it's a Vancouver Canucks practice jersey.
Wow.
That I stripped.
Sense.
So there's that one that's, and then the other version, I don't know that you'll be able to see it at all on here, but
that one's sweet.
Oh yeah, here, sorry. Oh yeah, here. Let me pop that. I can. So again, people watching on, you guys can't see it, but everybody at home watching on YouTube can see it. There's a captain's Oakland A's jersey with Oakland across the front, and of course Brazil. Oh no, Couture 39 on the back.
Dude, I'm telling you, but when I got the kit that was 39, I almost just put the 6 on there and just send it to you that way, just to see you like lose it.
Teaser.
I told you to do that.
But you know what? Okay, here I'll do this. Okay, there's all the people watching it right now. I will tell you right now. I will get one more green. I will make you a Kelly green. If you want the Oakland script across the front,
oh man,
I will do Oakland 6, Brazil, all of that stuff. All you got to do, you brought a whole box of gamers into pregame a couple pre-games ago. We'll just have to trade these.
You want the whole box?
No. Just let me have one.
Oh,
just give me your Stadium Series one. I'll be fine.
Oh, I can't. That's one of them. So it's funny. I will tell you this. Curtis has been asking, and I don't know why he keeps asking me. He goes, "Oh, we gotta do the whole trade your jersey thing one day." I'm like, because he saw my box of jerseys, and I'm like, I'll give you a teal one. I mean, I literally have 13 or 14, just jerseys, name, all that stuff. I'll give you one of them. He's like, "Oh yeah." He keeps asking, and I almost keep like not doing it just to see if he'll forget. He doesn't forget. I don't know why. He says he wants to hang it up inside his barn. He wants me to sign it. He's like, put the Robin on it. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so.
All right. Doesn't have to be the Stadium Series. Let me see the other ones, but we'll do a swap.
Let's negotiate. You're Doug. I'm Hurdle. Let's talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably not right now, but yeah, offline. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll be in the Walnut Creek area relatively soon. We can get together.
I know where to find you.
That's right.
And I appreciate you for being here. You could have cold shouldered me on this one, but you're here. Andrew, your final comments and thoughts on this Thursday afternoon for you in Japan. How would you like to close it out?
Well, thanks for having me. I really had so much fun here, and it was a really rare experience, especially a person in Japan. And I'm really hoping that the Sharks have a bright future. And I'm looking forward to joining your night shift again.
Awesome. Hey, it's always appreciated. As soon as you dive in the comments section, I always get excited by that. And now that I know you're on Twitter as well, if you see interesting stuff around Japan that you think I'd like, I've never been there. It's on my wish list. I hate to say be tourist for me, but show me if you see stuff that you know me well enough. If you think, hey, Brodie might like this, tweet it at me. Just a random photo. I would always appreciate that. Literally more than you know.
Okay.
Until I can actually get out there finally for the first time. I don't know how many more years that's going to be, but I will get there eventually. So thank you, Andrew, for being here, man. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maddie, you're up next. Final comments. How do you want to close out tonight?
Oh, just a resounding thank you to everybody for having me here. It's been good knowing that I'm on the same wavelength as other people when it comes to Sharks and their future and stuff. I'm looking forward to joining tomorrow night. I'll probably be a couple minutes late because I'm going to that game.
Good for you.
It's gonna be an interesting one. But yeah, just thanks again. It's been great chatting with everyone about the Sharks. Looking forward to seeing where this team goes.
Awesome. Well, it's always nice to have you on night shift, and you're fully excused if you're at a game. You don't, just drive safe, get home safe, and we'll catch up sometime. Alden, thank you for being here. Pleasure chatting with you. How would you like to close out tonight?
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to put some positive energy out there for my boys Eddie and Bones and Cogs, hoping that they can, get some more positive turnaround in their games. And I'm going to continue to root for the team, but especially those guys. And then the only other thing I'd say is that, Brodie, I sure hope your bosses know what an asset you are. I mean, you go above and beyond any other broadcaster I've ever seen, and it's really cool what you do. And all these late night things. I mean, this is way above and beyond, your job. And so I think I can probably safely speak for a huge part of the fan base in saying that. So thank you for all that you do. Appreciate you. And
thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to more night shift.
Hey, Alden, I really appreciate that. And to be honest with you, I want to, I want to do this job for as long as I can. And, I tried to find ways to truly connect with the audience and to do things that maybe others aren't doing, or that I can do, or that I see others doing and I also want to do. And I look around at some legends of broadcasting that I've been lucky enough to rub shoulders with or watch growing up here in the Bay Area. And it's a different landscape nowadays than ever, right? Like I don't think Dennis Richmond was ever doing a live chat,
Wow, that's good knowledge right there.
Well,
that's a legend.
And I'm not saying I'm also Dennis Richmond, but that type of that's what I aspire to, so that people say, hey, not only do I just know who this guy is, but he's down to earth and I can trust him, and, he's a common person, and I would trust what he says and what he presents. That's what I'm aiming for. So for you to say that, honestly, that makes it all worth it,
Hey, now 3 words, late night confidential.
My favorite part about tonight is that the name Drew Remenda, I only think came up only once. And how did Randy's name not even come up this entire time? It's just so maybe I'll have Randy and Drew on for a beers with Brodie one of these episodes.
I will open a Patreon. I will pay for that one.
Yeah.
I second that.
Yep.
Drew will be drinking a Pepsi. Randy and I will be getting after it. Jeff, how would you like to close out tonight?
I just kind of want to echo everything everybody else has said, especially Alden. I'm always very thankful, to tune in after a game, win or loss, to see what your take on it is. Your commitment to the quality of the show is super impressive to me every night, whether you're at home or outside of it. And, for you to do things like this is just it's awesome to hear, different voices from this community and hear different opinions of where the team is at and everything. And, I hope that you continue to do it. I'm sure you will. And I want to hear what everybody else in the community has to say, but I would love to be a part of it again, because it's been awesome. I look forward to the future of the team, and, just thanks for doing such a service to this community and this fan base.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you too for saying that. Hopefully when I do my retirement show, my retirement live stream, you guys will also say these very same, maybe I'll just play these clips back.
That can't be a roast?
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
If it's my funeral, then you can just go as hard as you want, right? I just won't be able to hear it.
Oh, and before you get to Eric, I'd be remiss if
Why are
I
you
didn't.
Cutting off your own guy here? It's like, I want to get to Eric. You're like,
no. Only because you got a significant donation in the chat.
yeah, actually, I'm glad you say. And you're watching that too, huh? I just saw that. Izzy Marley just jumped in the super chat there saying, Brodie I don't want to. Can you read it, AJ? I don't want to read it. I don't want to say Brodie the legend.
Oh, hold on.
Poetically.
Let me try to do my my best sarcastic Curtis Brown. Brodie the legend, always bringing the best content. Bay Area ambassador. Gracias, amigo. Whatever.
Izzy, I appreciate you for being in the super chat. All those funds, those revenues, they go right back here into the channel it's basically so that I can pay for Adobe Photoshop for a few more months. now you guys know the pain of that. No, but again, I just want to say this because you guys have been so graceful that I just want to be able to carve out something here in this area, maintain it, to keep up. I've been, again, surrounded by some greats, and that's what you aim for. You aim to keep that momentum going of people in your business that you admire. So I have some great examples. Eric, last but definitely not least, you get the honors of closing us out tonight.
I appreciate you, Brodie. I've known some of your family members for over a decade. Heck, my mom's boyfriend worked with your dad's cousin.
Is that
Roy.
true?
Yeah.
And, Christ, that was a reach.
That's how we've been intertwined.
Wow.
But Brodie, I think we've kind of been having the same idea as growing the game in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And whether it's us at Teal Town USA, follow us on YouTube, subscribe now.
There you go.
Or you're one of, like, what was it, 15 million subscribers on Brodie's channel. I mean, it's all about. Oh, sorry, 11.3.
I think you meant 15,000, but go ahead.
Hey, but we appreciate, and I think it goes without saying, like what Alden and Jeff have said, that we appreciate what you bring to it, and to share voices of fans all around. I mean, we had those tweet ups, years ago, just bringing everybody together and bringing a fan base together. So it's always appreciative. I will say this, because there's no baseball yet. Do we get the speedy oil change promos during a goalie change on the Sharks broadcast coming up?
Yeah, when Reimer broke his skate blade holder the other night, we were like, well, here comes Sawchenko when it's time for a change. Think speedy oil change and tune up your auto and brake tune-up experts.
Beautiful.
Did I say that right?
I think you can give Glenn Kuiper a run for his money now.
I think it goes a little something like this. Am I going to get busted for copyright playing that? No, anyway. Or we could... By the way, when I close this out, I will play that. I'll play the Sharks theme.
But Brodie, thank you so much for all this, and appreciate everything you do, and look forward to connecting with you again. And by the way, thank you to Mikkel Bodker for making me buy this jersey.
Yeah, you want to
scoring 2 power play goals in 2018.
How did that go again? There was a bet behind that, or
there was a little bit of a bet. It basically went down because the Sharks were on a power play schneid. Gee, shocker.
Never happens.
Never happens. There was, I think they had gone like 20 or 30 games without scoring 2 power play goals in a game. And I said, when they score 2 power play goals in a game, I will get a Brodie Brazil Sharks jersey. And side note, you graciously offered to let me borrow one of yours.
Right. I was like, don't spend money on that. I'll give you one.
But it's glued on. It's starting to peel off a little bit. But
whoa! I'll give you one. Wait, I don't have to negotiate now for the
Eric,
Oakland jersey?
This is Eric, not AJ. This is Eric. Okay, this is the perks that come with being Puck Guy. All right.
All right.
Guy's got an AOL email address. Okay.
Oh my God! Really? You had to bring that up.
He needs help.
Yeah, hey Eric. I used to work for AOL back in the mid 2000s.
Wow.
It's been the running joke of our show for years, and we kind of went away with it for about 2 years or so.
Stirred it up. Don't think that I'm not clipping that.
Thanks so much, Brodie. Love you so much.
That's going to be an audio clip on the Puck Knowledge.
Hang on, I'm bringing over here my soundboard. I thought I had a 56K modem soundbite. Where is it on here? I don't even see it. Darn it.
With that, subscribe to Tealtown USA on the YouTube channel. Hit us up on the socials and everything, and enjoy a post-game show.
I just again, I don't mean to dominate, but I do want to follow up on what Eric and Alden and a few people said here. During COVID, the fact that, you have to realize that, I don't know about everybody else on here. I remember you losing your mind one night when you had like 200 people watching because of the Russian bots, and you were like inside the house.
Yes.
And it was, and you were doing stuff with Fareed, and you were still inside the house. You hadn't built the studio yet. And we've slowly seen the shed in the backyard become this, dominating force of broadcast, just exquisite. Yes, the exquisiteness that you've got going on in this little like 12-foot by 10-foot hovel in your backyard. I think this is unbelievably awesome. The lighting.
Melvin.
Hey, you know what? Have you even done the? Okay, I guess the LEDs are going a little bit. You got the LEDs behind you going a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So, just to remember how there was no wood, and then there was the wood wall. Then we get the Gobe lights, and then the LEDs, and then you get all the audio stuff over to your left, and all of that, and the tours and the cameras, and it's so funny when you're sitting there showing us like sound curtains that are covering all the other stuff. So just the fact that you went through all of this during the pandemic, and we all know this is on your dime, as far as I know. Like,
it is. No, it is.
Yeah. It's like Sure is not coming in with a calendar or with a big cloak to hang behind you that have the Sure logo or Neumann or whoever. So this is God love you, man. I can't believe that this is something I look at and I go, you know what? No other hockey team, baseball team has somebody as committed to putting together content as you. So I will give you all the stick taps for that. Okay, somebody else kiss his ass for a little bit.
Hey, also one other name.
Please go. Help
one
me.
other name. One other name that we haven't brought up is your wife, that allows you to spend all this extra time.
She's sleeping right now. She's sleeping right now. So let's not wake her up. Yes, Alden. It is a commitment, and you're right. And
I also appreciate all your flight simulator stuff too, by the way.
Oh, really?
I love that you spend hours. I could watch you for hours just doing flight simulator stuff too.
I'll be honest. The reason I do that right now is to keep my brain and motor skills as fresh as possible, because I haven't been in an actual airplane in a couple of years now, and that's longer than I want to be. So it's almost as if like Mario Ferraro playing video games, like playing Chell, like that's me playing flight. Like it's the same thing. It's just to like keep the brain fresh. But thank you for saying that, Paul. I appreciate that.
If I had a toddler, I don't know that my wife would be nearly as forgiving.
Oh, he's not. He's a kid now. He tells me he's a kid. He's 4.5. Like, are you a toddler? No. When I turn 4, I'm a kid now. I'm like, oh, you're a kid. Yep. Never thought I'd be a dad of a kid. All right, everybody, I really appreciate it. You guys were too nice at the end. In fact, that's going to make me get all sentimental now as I sign off. I feel like if I talk over this music, it just makes it feel normal. I know how to get to the end of a show.
There.
Paul, I appreciate you. Casey, I appreciate you. Got school tomorrow morning, dude. Get to bed. AJ, you're way too drunk. AJ's drunk. It's tomorrow where Andrew's at in Japan. Maddie at USF on the hills. She's climbing a lot of hills lately. But I always appreciate her in the live chat of Night Shift. Alden has been a staple for many years. Jeff, I just met tonight, and I feel like baseball and hockey, like we are truly aligned. We're buddies. And Eric is the GOAT. And I don't mean like, bah, I mean like greatest of all time. So I'm officially going to end the YouTube stream as soon as this music hits. Hang on, everybody. I'll say goodnight to you guys separately. All right. Good night, YouTube. See you later.
Night.
I actually accidentally screwed up the live stream. I clicked on the wrong thing.